Namaskar, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this episode. Very recently, I was having an interaction with the parents of some senior students, and when we were talking about what our children are doing, how are they doing, and what is to be done more for them so that they become a very responsible and successful citizen of the country. And then we were talking about the challenges which they are likely to face in the future, particularly this uncertain future where the things are changing very, very fast. So one of the parents very enthusiastically mentioned about that we must inculcate scientific temperament in our children. So when he said about this, that scientific temperament, then we tried to understand a little more in that meeting itself. And then after the discussion, I realized that it is very, very important that though it may seem to be a very simple, very commonly used phrase, but then at the same time, are we really very much aware of it? Are we trying to do something for ourselves or for our children to develop the scientific temperament? So let us dwell upon this. Let us try to understand a little more and how can it help every one of us and particularly our children to really be more successful in this era of a lot of information. And then I was talking to you in the last video, AI, artificial intelligence, where you would not know what is right, what is not right, what is fake, what is real. I mean, it becomes very, very difficult. So when we were talking, I realized that, and every one of us realized that if we have scientific temperament, then in that case we would be able to navigate through this very, very uncertain and turmoil world. And then what is scientific temperament? So in a very simple way, we can say that scientific temperament is thinking rationally, having logic for everything what we say or what we do, and then not necessarily believing on anything and everything being told to us or being shown to us. If we can have that sort of thinking, because when we say scientific temperament, it's basically thinking. How do we think? Like if there is something in front of you and you have read about it and you find it very exciting for yourself and you forward it to anybody. Now, when you forward it to anybody, it goes to many people and you have not tried to understand what you had seen was right or it wasn't right. Does it have any logic or it does not have any logic? Can you prove it or can you not prove it? So when it comes to scientific temperament, because the word scientific is there, so it comes from science. Though it comes from science, but it is applicable in every walk of our life. It's a way of life. It's not something which we do in laboratory only. It's not something which we use while we are solving some problems. We have to have this inbuilt in ourselves so that whatever we do, we know why are we doing it. And when we know why are we doing it, then we would also know how are we doing it. Is it going to be beneficial to the society or is it not going to be beneficial for the society? So it becomes very, very relevant for everyone of us. Now, how can it be done? Like when it comes to schools, when it comes to the parents, how can we help our children develop this thinking? So for that, I always say that whenever this word analytical or critical thinking, I always say that let us give some time to our children or make them aware of how important it is to think. So first of all, it is very, very important to allow them thinking. And thinking would happen whenever we will give them opportunity to question us. So questioning is very, very important, and I keep telling and we keep talking about it that very important is to allow our children question the things which are there in front of them. And if they question, we should try to solve or answer those things in spite of snubbing them or saying, why are you asking so many questions? So first of all, thinking is important, then questioning is important, then trying to get the answer with a logic and evidences. I mean, evidence is very, very important. What you do in science, you try to get, I mean, you have some hypothesis, then you have some theory, then you try to do an experiment. Based on that experiment, you have some evidences. And now based on that, you are able to say whether you accept that theory or you don't accept that theory. whether that hypothesis ultimately becomes some theory or it does not. So it happens based on those evidences, and that you do after doing experiments. There are logics you use. So sometimes what happens that some people might ask this question that have we to ask question everything? Yes, we have to, but then we have got to be logical there also. What is important and what is not important. There are certain things which we really follow. Now, if I think of a child coming to a school, I usually ask this question to the parents: why are you wanting your child to be studying in this school? I mean, that why is very, very important. I mean, there should be a reason that you are sending your child to a particular school. There should be a reason and or a logic for somebody opting for one particular stream of subject. Like nowadays, the children would be appearing in different examinations, and they would be selecting, like particularly in India, standard 11th, they would be selecting their the subjects. Now, which subject? Why? I mean, should that not be asked, or it should be like somebody was telling me that I should study these particular subjects and I do that? No, I would think about whether I'm having an aptitude for that. Will I be able to really do well in that? Will it provide me some opportunities after I complete my course? I mean, these are lot many questions which we have to ask. Now, similarly, a child not being, because in today's time, you know it very well that children are getting information from different sources. And a child is influenced by something which he or she would have got from somewhere, and then you all of a sudden find that child involved in something which you don't feel very comfortable with. And what do we do in that case? We scold the child. We start thinking negative about the child without realizing why and how this child would have learned it. And then once we try to learn that, we would be able to take care of that real cause which would have made the child get into that particular situation or that thought process. So it is important for us as teachers, it is important for us as parents to think logically. Means we must have scientific temperament ourselves. I may not be necessarily the teacher of physics or chemistry or mathematics. I may be teacher of Hindi or English or any language or history, geography or business studies. I mean, I also must have, why should my children study business studies? Why should my children study accountancy? I mean, is it only the employment you are working for? But are you trying to see whether the child has an aptitude or temperament for this or not? A child not trying to do well in the classroom, and the children really put a blame on the child being indisciplined. And let me try to understand, the child is doing that, so why is that child doing that? And now how can I take care of that problem? If it is harming our child or it is harming the class or the progress of the child, then what should I do? How should I take care of that? And that I would be able to do only when I find out why. When we do experiment there in the classroom, what do? We go with with evidences. So until unless there is an evidence of something that it is correct, we should not necessarily believe it. And what we do in today's time, when AI is there, social media is there, we get influenced so much, and people speak so confidently about certain things which may not be true. So every one of us has got to be very, very careful that what we believe, that is based on logic, that is based on rational thinking, that is based on some evidences, and those evidences should not be considered as to be the final word, because things keep on changing with the time. I mean, there were certain things which were told even in science 100 years back, which are now proving to be different. For example, I mean, once we consider atom to be as the smallest particle, I mean, cannot be broken further. Then we had electrons, neutrons, and protons. Then we further had muons and so many things. And in today's time, you have quarks and lot many things. So things keep on changing. So if we remain stuck to only that atom is the smallest entity in the world, I mean, that is not true. That was true at that point of time. But it changed because we kept questioning. We kept looking for more evidences, and more evidences provided us with the information that it is not necessarily true always. So, because in today's time, the problem is that we get polarized so easily. Somebody is saying something, we believe in that, and we start following it. Now, I mean, we have got to be a little logical in that also. And all those who are trying to put it on social media sites, please be careful that you're writing something or you're saying something on that influences so many people. And of course, I would request you also not to do that, because whatever you are doing, don't do it only for your sake. Keep in mind the impact of what you are doing on the entire society. If there is no scientific temperament, then what kind of thinking that would be called? It would be dogmatic thinking. And we can have the difference between two, that is the scientific thinking and dogmatic thinking, on 3-4 points. The first one is reaction to new ideas. Now, reaction to new ideas, that anybody who is having scientific thinking or temperament would be accepting or welcoming the new ideas and might change his or her views. Whereas the dogmatic thinking person would try to defend whatever the old idea is. Second is that what is the basis of truth? For the person who is having scientific temperament, he would have the basis of truth as the logic and evidence. Whereas the person with dogmatic thinking would be considering authority as to be the real thing, the basis of truth. That somebody is in senior position, superior, or that what I said is right. I mean, that's not the approach of the person who is with scientific temperament. The approach to doubt, I mean, wherever there is doubt, the person with scientific temperament would always see it as an opportunity to clarify, or the tool to clarity, whereas the other person would consider it as the sign of weakness, which again is wrong, because whenever you consider any doubt as the sign of weakness, you would not try to really learn more than what you have learned till now. The other can be the goal. What can be the goal of any person who is having scientific temperament? The goal of that person is to understand, to know what it is, how it is, why it is. Whereas the goal of the person with dogmatic thinking is to defend. The goal of one is to understand, whereas the goal of the other one is to defend. So do not try to defend everything which you do not have logic for, or you do not have evidence for. So that is why I always say that a person with scientific temperament would be more helpful for everyone than the one with dogmatic thinking. So we have got to be careful that that our approach for our children, for the society, is something which is based on logics. As I said in between somewhere, that should we question everything? Yes, there are certain situations where we have to follow our elders' advice, because those elders would have come with a lot of logic. Because sometimes what happens, that I'm not going to do the same logic which has been used by my elders or my seniors or somebody in the past, and if they have proved it and that proof is there in front of me, I would follow that. I'm not going to spend my energy or waste my energy in doing it again. I'll do beyond that what they have already done. So this is what is called as the progress. This is what is called as the development. Because if we remain stuck only to the past, and we keep on digging the past only, we are not going to go further in our improvement of anything around us. So this scientific temperament can be developed, inculcated. Of course, our children are born with that. As I told, that questioning is so much in the mind of the children right from their childhood. I mean, right from the day when they are born, the children start exploring things. And when they grow, they start asking things. And they start doing things, but we are the ones who really limit them to doing it. Of course, sometimes we do it for their safety, and sometimes we do it just for the sake of that either we don't have the answer or we don't have the time. So, I mean, as parents and as teachers, it is our responsibility to making sure that we follow the scientific approach for everything what we do, when we talk to our children, when we ask them to do certain things or not to do certain things. Because until and unless we tell them that doing this will help you this way, and we show it to them that this helps, either with the help of examples or by making them to do it. And if they're doing something which we do not want them to do, again we have to make sure that we tell them based on examples and evidences that people did this and they were harmed, or they had problems because of this. So don't do it, is like this. So just saying do it or don't do it, I mean, would not make any sense. And whenever we do it, we curtail, we limit, we hamper the development of scientific temperament in our children. We should not do that. And you know it very well, when I was thinking about it, I came across something very, very important, which I would like to share with all of you, that in our constitution, scientific temperament is a fundamental duty. And it was done based on the 42nd Amendment in 1976, came in effect in 1977, where it says that every citizen of the nation must have scientific temperament, humanism, and reasoning and inquiry mindset. And at times, I mean, it was done during Mrs. Indira Gandhi's time, and even before, there were many leaders of our country who had thought of having scientific temperament in our citizens, so that our country becomes as the developed nation as early as possible. And I'm very happy to share it with all of you. Till now, I know, if that's not right, please correct me, that ours should be the only constitution having developing scientific temperament, or making it compulsory for every citizen to have scientific temperament. I don't think any other country would be having that. And if it is so, then it becomes all the more responsibility and duty of all of us to develop that in ourselves, and also help our children develop that. I think this will help all of us in thinking about it more seriously, and helping our children and ourselves to develop this scientific temperament. Thank you. God bless us all.